it was interesting for me to set this ballet, the Third Symphony of Gustav Mahler, on the company because it is a completely new form of work. It is a work which tries, through the use of the complete symphony of Gustav Mahler, to achieve a new form of dance dramaturgy. That is, there is no story that can be expressed in words. There is only a story that can be seen and felt as you watch the dancer. So it's a quite different process, because through the movement and the emotion of the movement, the emotion of the music, a story is constructed which only exists in the moment it's seen. Approach to this work is different because it's not there is not the possibility to tell a story before the dancers learn the text, which is physical. So the communication with the dancer is actually a physical one. Only when the dancers have learned the movements, have been able to make them their own, have been able to really feel something in this movement, can one speak about what perhaps my meaning is. And my meaning, my personal story is not necessarily the only story, which is so interesting because I explain sometimes, for example, that the girls of the second movement, the pas de deux, is not a pas de deux of two people. They are the extraordinary beauty of flowers moving in the wind. But if I say this, it's very banal, according to what we see when we can experience it. And so I think the idea is, the difficulty is not to be able to inspire before they have themselves learned the text and been able to feel something in themselves. Then one can correct this and say, no, I think it's too much, or it's too dramatic, it's not honest what you do. Please be more simple. As always with dance, when the dancers themselves have had time to absorb this, to make it their own, it becomes more deep. And there is more to correct and to mold into a new version of the work. I think that, of course, particularly in the fourth movement of the symphony, the text of Nietzsche obviously inspired Mahler to write this incredible fourth movement. For me, of course, I have tried to understand the text, but it was not my intention to interpret this text. This particular movement, the fourth movement, was the origin of the ballet because it was a piece which I created in memory of John Cranko, and it represents the sorrow, the great grief that happened with his company when he left, when he died at such a young age. But for me, always, in every choreography, whatever research I do, whatever I rationally think or interpret in terms of a text or a history or a relationship, it's absolutely important to forget in the moment to enter the studio, in the moment to begin to actually create. Then, for me, there is only one partner, which is the music, and of course the dancer, who is in a sense the mirror of the emotion I feel from the music. So I test my emotion in what I see in the dancer and how he can understand, how he can interpret my feeling. So it's a very personal thing, but the music is absolutely the most important inspiration. When I was very young, when I created the Third Symphony, I believed I would choreograph all the music of Mahler. In different periods of my life, I have continued. I have, in fact, choreographed all the symphonies, except the great Second Symphony and the Eighth Symphony, which are so large that they are, I think, extremely difficult to be performed in the framework of a normal ballet company. One could perhaps do them for a short saison in a great festival. There are just really, perhaps there is one great work which I still would very much like to create, and that is the Song of the Earth, this Lied van der Erde, which perhaps someday will be realized. I think that the job, if we can call it a job, the responsibility of the choreographer as artist, for me, is to create a world. It's not to put step together. Many people can put step together in a very interesting way. Sometimes, if I have a not good day, I can also, from my experience, put steps together, and it's kind of interesting. But it's not choreography. For me, choreography means I enter a world, I watch something, I feel something. Later, I maybe understand something, but the rational part for me is always later. The impression, the feeling, like Nijinsky say, we have to feel, not understand. This is so important in dance, I think. And so for me, even if it's a very simple setting, if the costume are very simple, the color is important, the direction of the light, the timing in the changing of the light. It's all important, and it all helps to establish a complete and unique world for each ballet. I absolutely believe, like Nietzsche, that I can't believe in a God who doesn't dance.